Derek Carr, whether Rizzy says he can go or not in the next couple of weeks, this week he probably won't go. He has a concussion. He has a hand injury. So Jake Haener versus Spencer Rattler. First off, let's get into what did Spencer Rattler do or not do to win the starting job outright when he had the opportunities to those 3 games where he was the starter?
Well, I mean, look, I don't think you can really go back. I don't think they will go back to Rattler. He got benched in his last start. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go back to a guy that got benched in his last start. And granted, I know there's people, that are screaming right now. The situation was not fair. Like, the offensive line wasn't there. See what he can do and all that stuff. And like, I get it and I understand that, but I also think that if you throw Eric McCoy in there, it's not a drastically different result. I think the long-term prognosis with Spencer Rattler is probably a lot better than the long-term prognosis with Jake Haener as far as the ability to develop the on-tap potential, all that stuff. But I think if you're looking at the situation, and you got to look at it through the prism that they're in. Now, if you have a coach that has security and he's going to be here a year from now and he's guaranteed that, you probably go back to Rattler and you say, let's see what we got. Let's see if there's anything here to work with. Let's kind of figure out what the future is, see if it's worthwhile. But you have an interim head coach and a staff that's fighting for their jobs. Yeah. They're going to probably go to the other guy, and it probably won't look much different, and it probably won't be much better, and it probably won't change the result, and it might even be worse. But if you are in that situation, you kind of already know what door number A is. So I think you just go to door B and hope that there's something behind door B that hasn't been tapped yet, because what we saw the last time, that isn't going to win you games. And I think the situation in its own right is worse than it was the last time that we saw Derek Carr go out. I mean, yeah, you got offensive line back, but now you have no receivers and no Taysom, and there's nothing to work with. There's nothing to throw at. So I think the situation remains unfair. I think the situation wasn't fair to Derek Carr because he's not a win because quarterback, and now you have a roster where you're going to need the win because you're quarterback, and now you're going even tiers down. So yeah. I think it's still a horrible situation. And my guess is for everything I just said, I think they just go to Haener. I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, if it was me and I had more time and I knew I had a job next year, I would go to Rattler. If I'm Rizzy though, I probably go to Haener for that. Just is there something here that wasn't tapped, and maybe this guy keeps my job for me? But I don't really have a strong take either way. I think either way you're probably in a bad spot, and I think it's really hard to win.
Yeah, a couple of things. Not only did Rattler get benched, he went back to being inactive afterward. And I get that that's how they've done it all year, but it's weird that they've done it that way. I mean, normally your number 2 is your backup, and your backup is the next man up. And early in the season, maybe there was some politics involved. Maybe there was some Rattler's got to wait his turn. We don't want to anoint the rookie that everyone's excited about too early. We don't want Derek Carr to feel like Rattler's breathing down his neck. I don't know what went into that situation completely, but when the rubber met the road, they picked Rattler to try to win a game. Oh, now we have to win a game? We actually liked Rattler better all along. This time, I don't feel like it's the same way. I feel like once that seal was broken, if Rattler did a good job during his 3 starts, he would have remained the backup. He would have been the guy who was 1 snap away from going into the game. I feel like he got demoted. I feel like he got benched in his 3rd start. And then when Haener went back to being the number 2 after that, it felt like a pecking order was established. And Darren Rizzi came in and changed a lot of things. If Darren Rizzi didn't like that, he could have changed that too. He kept Haener 2 and Rattler 3. So I think we already know their hierarchy right now. Now, maybe it's a little different, but I just don't see how if you were thinking Rattler gives us the best chance to win games, how does it help Rattler to be inactive for all these games? It would help him grow, develop more if he was active on all these game days, coming in fourth quarters of blowouts, et cetera, like Haener's been doing. So it just feels like we already know their hierarchy. Second thing, this decision this week will 100% be about trying to win the game. Everybody involved is trying to win right now. They're only 2 games back of Tampa Bay. They have a chance to play Tampa Bay in Week 18. They haven't given that up. Like you said, Rizzi's trying to win as many games so he can campaign to be the coach. Clint Kubiak's trying to win as many games so he can campaign to stay the offensive coordinator. Everybody is in we want to win mode. They're going to choose who they want to win. So this is not about developing a quarterback for the future. The third element that I don't know how much this should be considered, but I think it will is is there a deserve? Is there an O? I mean, we even saw Sean Payton give a Taysom Hill starts because he said the guys waited 4 years for this. Would they be screwing Jake Haener if they passed him over again?
I don't think that
does he
matters.
deserve it?
I don't think you think about Jake. Darren Rizzi's trying to save his own job. He can do favors for.
But that would also be the third element in Jake Haener's favor. I just think everything points to Jake Haener right now.
But that when Sean said that, who was the other quarterback? Jameis. I mean, that's a PR move. He started Taysom because Taysom gave him the best chance to win. I don't think Sean Payton ever made a decision that was not with his own interest at the forefront. Because if Sean's putting his own interest at the forefront, he's putting the team's interest at the forefront on decisions like that. I think he said that to dampen it down. Like
I just threw that in the end, though. Yeah. Like that would be one more thing in Haener's favor but that's not you do that for an entire locker room. I mean, you want everyone to know that if they earn a chance to play, they deserve a chance. Like, there might be people who are like, geez, they're screwing Jake Haener over here. Like, if you want to hold a locker room together, Jake Haener deserves a chance. Spencer Rattler failed in his opportunity. Jake really wants this opportunity. You heard him talk to you after the game. I mean, he was like almost campaigning for it.
Yeah.
He's like, I feel like I gave a spark to this team every time I came in. Like, so I think that's, let's call it 1%, 5%.
I have issues as like a human being with the word deserve. I don't think anyone ever deserves anything. You either earn it or you don't. And if you don't deserve it, it's because you haven't earned it. So like I don't think anybody should be gifted any, like this isn't the old boys club where it's like
deserves based on earned. I mean, deserves based on earned. He's outperformed.
Well, if he's earned it, then he's earned it. But that word, I don't think it's like, well, he got a turn, so now we have to be fair to everyone. But Spencer's actually better. But we're going to go to Jake because Jake's feelings might be hurt. No, I think they go to Jake because Jake gives them the best chance.
Well,
to win.
that's the point. You lose your job if somebody's better than you. But since
I don't
Rattler
think either
hasn't been better,
for the record though, I don't think either one of them. I think it's equal probably, and I think they're having a hard time winning another game as long as Derek Carr's out.
But anyway, the number one decision factor is who gives you the best chance to win against Washington. And so I want to ask both of you, if this was up to you, who gives you the best chance to win against Washington?
I don't think either one of them, honestly.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, same, but I'll go with Rattler.
Yeah.
And not because he's inherently just like off the charts better than Haener, but I think his ability to scramble, which kind of cost him at certain points in those other games. And I think with like a consistent offensive line, like you said, I don't know if Eric McCoy is the complete game changer, but he is a changer versus a guy that you got off of the Jets practice squad and say, hey, come off the bus and come play for us and start at center or at guard, at different things like that. He's been in those situations. He started a game. The nerves are
fair,
kind of calm and even in that sort of sense. And, I mean, he has something to prove. He has something to prove. Like, all right, last time we were out here, it was bad. Now I have a better offensive line. I think this is the first, like, even in South Carolina, that offensive line was terrible.
Just being real, like, look, I understand the PR around it and the fan swell and everything. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready when he played last time. He was not ready. And it had nothing, it was beyond the offensive line. It was an extremely unfair situation. If he had better protection or whatever, yes, he could have played better, but he was not ready. He needs, I think Rattler needs time to develop, and I think he has a probably a higher ceiling. He has a significantly higher ceiling long term. The potential's still there. I still believe in it, but I think you need to go back to the kitchen and it needs to go back in the oven for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think Jake's significantly different, but if you're telling me I'm in a spot where I've seen one and I haven't seen the other, and I know one what it was, and I seen it, and I'm being truthful about what it was instead of just post it on Twitter to get like reactions or whatever. Like, I would probably go to door B, and if door B is bad, I'm going right back to A.
Yeah, that's another point I was going to make. First of all, two things with Rattler. He was missing Eric McCoy. He was also missing Cesar Ruiz and Lucas Patrick for two of those starts. So his first two starts, he was missing all three interior linemen. That's a fair excuse. That is hard to deal with. Having the entire offensive line back, even though they looked like crap against New York, I think Rattler would look better this time around. But again, as I said, Rattler's been on ice. Like, if this was all about giving Rattler the best chance to grow from what he learned, he should have been the backup this whole time. So I think they've already made their decision. But I do think, I mean, this is going to be a win-win or a lose-lose or whatever you want to say. You go to Haener, And if Haener struggles and if they're losing games with Haener, then you've got the last 2 games of the season because now you'll be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
If Haener loses to Washington and Green Bay, then I go back to Rattler for the last 2 because now I really am talking about 2025 and no one's even pretending it's anything else. So actually that's what I predict will happen. I think unless Haener really, really looks good, I think we'll end up seeing both of them before the year.
Yeah, if I was the GM of this team, I'm like, do what you got to do this week, and then I'm coming down from the clouds next week if it looks terrible and saying like we're preparing for we got to see. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah. But I think if I'm Rizzy, I'm making the decision to go to Haener. There were some people in the locker room that wanted him last time. There were like hardcore Rattler believers too. Yeah. But I think if you ask the players that they would go. Look, I've been hearing from them. Like they would go Haener. Like they would go Haener this week too. Like so, my feeling this week is that it is going to be him. And my personal take, like I said, I don't really have one. Like I think it's tough either way. But logically, I probably take a look at B. And if B's bad, I'm going back to A.
We got to be complete here. There now is a door number C. Ben DiNucci, he announced it himself, and then the team officially announced that he signed with the team. But no real DiNucci's going to get a chance. It just got to be complete in saying that he signed with the team yesterday. But
if things get really bad, maybe they'll all get a turn.
Oh, nah. I don't know if it's going to ever get that terribly bad. But just, I said Rattler as my answer for this week, but I want to see, eventually, I want to see what Haener's strengths are. I want to be able to have a complete evaluation of, okay, he knew going into the game he was starting. Yeah. He got a chance to start.
Completely.
Now he can show what he is. I mean, I completely
that's
understand.
That's a 2025 decision too.
Yeah.
Figuring out what this guy is. Is he Chase Daniel? Is he Taylor Heineke? Is he a potential starter? Is he the potential bridge? Is he better than Rattler? It doesn't hurt your 2025 team building to find out what Jake Haener is too.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with I think I'm a little down on him overall because when he's come in, it's always felt like he's drinking Jolt Cola and comes out and it's just like too much energy every time he comes out onto the field. But we'll see with the start. Like maybe it's different. Maybe he can work through those nerves. Pre-game, he comes out. Yeah. It's a little bit slower, and we'll see how it looks. But yeah, I mean, look. All fairness to him, maybe there is something there, and it hasn't been seen yet.
But it's a good call.
But it's just really like the way he's come in off the bench has kind of soured it for me. Like I thought he had some really good camp practices though, for sure. And if he can kind of bring in that slowness and a little bit more calmness to what he's doing and make it look like that, maybe there is something there. But I just don't. I'm not very optimistic.
Jolt Cola is one of the best comps you've come. I mean, it's so true. My fruit strike gum comp to a former quarterback, I think is still a little better. But you're Jolt Cola.
Right. I'm the young head. No idea. What was that from?
Jolt was like Mountain Dew times 2.
It was like pre-Red Bull.
Yeah.
Pre-Red Bull.
Yeah,
like a Four Loko,
yeah, probably packed with more.
Yeah,
with more terrible stuff.
Yeah.